Welcome back to this Coffee with the Editor. We are at the annual Railway Safety Regulators Conference. I'm here at the TrackView stand, and they definitely have a solution to quite a serious problem, and I'm going to speak to Gibbon to find out a bit more. Hello, Kent.
Hello.
Thanks for allowing me on your stand and to talk about TrackView and a solution to quite a serious problem.
Indeed. So, as we're all aware, theft and vandalism is the key issue that's absolutely stripping our rail industry of any efficiency, operationally or economically. So we as a South African firm, who's been 100% funded by the Technology Innovation Agency, have developed a product called TrackView that addresses what we believe to be the key issue, which is theft and vandalism on our railway infrastructure. TrackView is a device where we've stripped out all the cost and the hardware, because anything of any value along the track gets stolen or vandalized. Anything with copper cables, batteries or solar panels does not last on track. And so we have patented the technology which uses no batteries, no copper cables.
So Kent, if I understand correctly, this goes on the track.
Yeah, Phillippa. So this epoxies to a side of a sleeper. And I'll get to the reason why we designed it in that way. But what TrackView effectively does is it sends electrical impulses down the rail and monitors for two key condition monitoring requirements that a railway requires, on which the current equipment along track has been stolen and vandalized in the South African system. And the two are rail brake detection and train detection. The reason we've specifically gone after rail brake detection is because broken rails are the leading cause of train derailments globally, both locally on our transit lines as well as on our parcel lines as well as internationally. And so that key condition monitoring requirement that TrackView performs is really essential to ensuring safety and economic efficiency on our lines.
So how far does this go? So it's on the track, it's sending down, I assume, a pulse?
Yes.
How far before you need to have the next one?
So each TrackView device can see for 2 kilometers. And there's actually a benefit to that. Current systems, when they're installed, are trenched along the line and see for 10, 20 kilometers at a time. When the system is stolen or vandalized, the rail operator, in this case Parcel Transnet, lose visibility on that large section of track. Whereas TrackView is an IoT device that's monitoring a small section of track, you only lose essentially a visibility of about 2 kilometers under certain rail conditions. And the way we've designed it as an IoT device is the installation of this device takes 45 minutes on the side of the track. You don't have to stop trains or the operations. And we anticipate that some will be attempted to be stolen or vandalized. In fact, 2 of our engineering units that are on track have been attempted. There were attempts on the devices. But we built in such a way that replacement is 15 minutes.
Okay.
Again, really expensive equipment takes 8 to 10 weeks to re-procure, to get highly technical people to install. But whereas TrackView doesn't need any technical expertise to install, it's merely replaced as an IoT device and activated again. So replacement is 15 minutes, ensuring that our rails are not down for longer than a 24-hour period if this equipment is stolen or vandalized.
So I just want to take you back a little bit, because this is a South African company. It is patented in South Africa.
Yes.
So this is homegrown technology.
100%.
All right. This thing goes on the side of the track. It sends out a signal. How's that signal working, and how do we ensure that that signal isn't interfered with in any other way? You know, there's harmonics on the track. When the train comes through, or when there's,
It is.
How do we define what frequency belongs to what activity?
Indeed. So one of the incredible engineering achievements that has happened on TrackView is the fact that it uses minimal voltage and minimal amperage on the track.
Yeah.
And I often say that to solve most problems, you can either throw a lot of money at the issue, or you can throw a lot of power. And by this, I mean actual power, not figurative power, although that might also work. And what's really genius about this product is the fact that it finesses and is elegant in terms of its solution. Because if we had to use a large amount of power, we'd require big batteries and big solar panels. So we've had to engineer TrackView to have no batteries, to fire its pulse along the track. And the fact that its pulse is so small, it does not interfere with any signaling equipment on the track either.
All right. So that's quite important. All right. So we put it down next to the track. It's got this correct frequency. It can detect rail breakage. It can, detect if something's wrong within its defined parameters. how long does it last? And I'm not saying how long does it last because it's now, somebody's tried to vandalize it. I'm saying how long will this unit stay functional once in place?
So two aspects I can answer to that is firstly, from a power storage and a power management point of view, we use supercapacitors within TrackView. And what's been really well engineered is how to manage the power of those supercapacitors because they don't function like batteries. So our power management within TrackView, with no sun, bearing in mind it is a solar powered device, we can last 10 to 14 days with no charge on our device. With no recharging of the supercapacitors on our device. On Track, we have engineered it to EN standards globally. Obviously, TrackView is not a product that is 10 years old yet, but we have built it to last with all those design requirements for a period of 10 years on the side of the track.
So 10 years, once installed, and good to go.
Yes, obviously if it's not stolen or vandalized, and the device will be replaced within 15 minutes.
If there's an attempt to vandalize or steal this device, does this device let the operator know?
Yes, of course. It's got a tamper detection system in here. So as soon as the device is tampered with, it sends a notification to the cloud and our dashboard, and whether it's in the train control or the rail technician or the rail operator, they will all get a notification that this particular device at that location, there is an attempted vandalism or theft on that device. And they can send security to that, which again really supports the system of constantly being visible and present on the line, which deters future action.
And I guess also part of that outcome-based security, there is an event and there is a response, and
100%.
Faster reaction is enabled. Obviously, this is an IoT device, so it is generating quite a bit of data.
Yes.
How is that data stored, managed, maintained,
Great.
verified, looked at, interpreted?
So the information is stored on the cloud. We're monitoring a lot of diagnostics that are coming from the device itself. There's a temperature sensor, there's each solar panel, each battery is monitored and managed, as well as our firmware and hardware within the device, plus obviously all the condition monitoring requirements, so the rail brakes and the train detections, etc. All the information is processed on the edge and sent to the cloud, where all the information is then centralized and sent to dashboards, as you can see in the background over there, or the data is then supplied in its raw format to the train operator should they wish to receive it separately.
Okay, so you have so as an operator, do you have the option of having TrackView analyze that data and respond accordingly, as well as your control center being trained to analyze and understand the data coming through? Is there a full service, or is it just...
What we would prefer is the full service. We want to remove as much of that responsibility as well as onerous processing of the information off the train operator. We want the person in the control room to get the notification to allocate the specific warning or condition change that is required, for example, if a rail break occurs, to the right person, and they go out and they solve it. It's really important that process is efficiently done, and as soon as you implement stages along that process where people have to then take action and process large amounts of information, it can then obviously slow the whole process down.
Yeah, so that's why I was asking, is it full service or is it hands? Yes. All right, so obviously in South Africa we have quite a big client. When I say client base, I'm talking about our three clients being, PRASA, Gautrain and Transnet. But this will also have an application for the region, certainly the Southern African region, and perhaps the continent and, as well. So how would you as a South African company be able to support that, sell into, monitor and assist our railway operators in the region?
100%. So as TrackView is a fairly new device onto the market, we are specifically targeting local operators at this point, which will allow us to scale our operation to be able to support further African countries. As we know, rail is not only going through a renaissance here in South Africa, but up into Africa as well.
Definitely.
And we have specifically designed this to work on African conditions. That we know that the rest of the world and the rest of the hardware and technology that is developed to suit their environments. We know that we need something unique for Africa that addresses the uniquely African solutions. So it's on our roadmap, intend to go and extend up into Africa in time, but we're targeting local markets first.
Tiaan here from TrackView. He's going to take us through the technical aspects of the system.
Thank you, Phillippa. TrackView, patented technology developed in South Africa specifically to alter theft and vandalism. We've got a huge problem in South Africa. So in this example that I have here, we've got an installation in Salt River in Cape Town. We installed our device at a guardhouse. And because we send electrical pulses on the rails itself, meaning no need for copper cables, trenching, anything like that, we are bound by physics of electricity. So a rail-to-rail bond, like the one at 90 meters, and the other one at 640 meters, forms the boundaries for this example. So a little bit over 700 meters that we are monitoring. And what we then do is we take a baseline, meaning we say the track is healthy, there's no train on the tracks, there's no rail break, and we capture baseline. And each one of the squiggles that you see, each one of the bends in the graph, that is actually caused by something affecting the electrical properties, like a cable connected to the rail or a muddle or something. So as soon as the train in the left top corner of the video comes closer, and the front axle crosses the rail-to-rail bond at the blue arrow, we're going to see a deviation from our graph. And on the x-axis, we've got meters. And you can see that this train is now 50 meters away. And now we see the axles as it bob about in the middle. And there's the rear axle as it moves out all the way across to the last boundary. The way we get this resolution and distance information is actually by sending radar-like pulses on the rail itself. Small voltage, small current, ensuring we don't interfere with any signaling equipment. So a train causing a short circuit that we can detect with its location has a different signature than a rail break. In the previous example, you could see that a train or a short circuit breaks upwards from the baseline, where a rail break will break downwards. In this example, we've got an insulated block joint that was bridged to allow the signal to pass over. And as soon as you open it, you can see that there's a rail break 260 meters from the device. And that's TrackView, allowing you to view the track electrically.